Oh boy, Bears fans want a running back. They don't have one yet. Brashard Smith just went off the board just seconds ago. Day 3 of the draft continues. We're breaking down everything that's happened right here on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast Draft Day 3 live. And we are live to break down what has happened so far today, mostly what has not happened so far today. And the Bears are going to make a pick here. Actually, very quickly, probably here in the first segment, their last pick of this draft, unless they trade it, which there's definitely been some maneuvering. Hello, everybody. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr. with you. Boys, how we doing?
We're doing great, Adam. I'm doing great. I'd rather be at 115 Bourbon Street. Phenomenal weekend. Shout out to those guys. I miss you too, shockingly. Today was exciting for a second, and then it's just gotten very weird. But I'm looking forward to talking all about every Ruben Hyppolite that we can possibly talk about, and Bears players that have forests for their backyards. There's a lot to cover here. And yeah, it'd be nice if there was a running back in this group, but maybe we'll get one at 233 here. Hi, Greg.
Hello. How are you doing, gentlemen? Yeah, I mean, for me, no surprise, but I'm a mixed bag. So, I'm very upset that they couldn't come away with Cam Scatterboo, and but also happy with the trenches being addressed a little more here. So get a little more trench drunk. I like the guard they brought in from Michigan State. Seems like he's got some promise, but we'll get into all of it. But I'm a mixed bag of emotion right now.
Well, let's tell you what's brewing here on this edition of the CHGO Bears Podcast. Last one of the draft weekend. And what's brewing is brought to you by new Sam Adams American Light, cold, crisp, and refreshing. Game day just got better. Maybe it'll make the end of the draft better for you too. Sam Adams, it's the best. We're going to talk best and worst from day 3. That's what's going to come up first. We're going to rate the picks as well. We're going to go individually through each pick that was made today as well. Plus, we'll get your final Bears draft pick. And Fran Duffy, our draft analyst at ALLCITY, will join us as well. Guys, we usually do this for live shows right after practices and things like that, just the best and worst that we've seen from the day. I thought it was applicable to today's action. So, Carm, I'll go with you. Best and worst of day 3 of the draft. Go ahead.
So I'm going to go with my best being Luke Newman because this is a guy who can give you some flexibility, has played left guard, right guard, center. So it seems like, late in the draft, looking for depth pieces, somebody who can fit in, somebody who can, be the Ryan Bates that never once was. Luke, this isn't it. It's just not a very, let's be honest, the most exciting day in Bears history as far as the draft picks go. So, but I do think that's a functional piece who can make the roster. And if you have problems with guys going down, he could be a valuable guy going down the line if he can figure out. I like his attitude. And yeah, I do like the fact that his interview looked like he was in the middle of a forest in the UP, and Sean Hammond of the Tribune now asked him, "Where are you?" He's like, I'm in my backyard." I'm like, that's a sweet backyard in the Detroit area. So that was my best of the day. Am I doing my worst too here, Hoge? I'm having trouble.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is not a shot at Ruben Hyppolite at all, but my worst is Ruben Hyppolite because it just felt like a massive overdraft. I didn't get it at all. You could have gotten him, I think, at 233, which you're about to pick. So I get the fact that Bears fell in love with his traits, But that's another thing. Like that just felt like a smartest guy in the room pick. I hate smartest guys in the room picks, even though they do have to bet on themselves. But something that's that over the top, it just didn't make sense to me. Mainly because draft a running back, take the best one that you like on the board at the point. Just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Greg, how about you? Best and worst of the day?
Yeah, I mean, my best was as soon as we got into the day. My best was that Ryan Poles, I thought, had done a really good job of staying patient with the running back room. You saw all these running backs still available when the day started. And I was talking to Carman before the draft even started. I was like, hey man, they're in a really good spot. They didn't overdraft one in the third round. They addressed the trenches, with their last couple picks after going crazy skill positions to start. And here you are. You got Cam Scatterbo and all these other running backs after him still available. And then all of a sudden my worst was that they just kept falling short of these guys. If that's how it all went down, I guess we'll never know for sure, but it just seems to me even here in the 7th round as Brashard Smith comes off the board to Kansas City, Taj Brooks comes off the board. My guy Taj Brooks from Texas Tech comes off the board 2 picks before the Bears pick. And then you have some situations even before that. And the Bears traded out of a few spots where they could have had, a running back instead of trading back. The only trade back that I really, applaud the Bears for is getting an additional 4th round pick for next year. But for me, my worst is how you weren't aggressive enough here today to try to get one, because in my opinion, they are trying to get a running back. So how could you not find one here in day 3 with the amount that were available?
Yeah. I'll just go quickly here. I want to get Stevens in too. I don't have a best. It hasn't happened yet. I'm hoping it does, but I'm thoroughly underwhelmed so far today. So I'm just going to stick to the worst. And that is just how these running backs seemingly have just been sniped ahead of the Bears throughout the draft. I think it goes back to yesterday too with Travion Henderson. We saw a couple come off the board right before their 4th round pick. They end up trading back. It happened again later. One went right before the Bears pick. They end up trading back. All 3 of those times, the Bears ended up trading back right after running backs went off the board. And it's seeming like they're going to come out of this one. Even if they pick one here, it's not necessarily going to be the one that I'm fully in love with, although there's still a couple options out there. The Bears are about to be on the clock, so I am going to let Steven go here real quick and get his best and worst in, and then we can analyze what happens here with the Bears' last pick.
Yeah, my best from today was just simply that the Bears acquired a future 4th round pick. We've seen them seriously. I mean, that's it.
It's a good answer.
We've seen them use 4th round picks to acquire Keenan Allen and Joe Thuney. We didn't have a 4th round pick next year because that's how we got Joe Thuney. So now we have one. So you could acquire more talent, or you could just use that pick in the future. We've seen how good that could be. My worst, I've been saying this for months now. I really wanted Damian Martinez. Somehow he just kept on falling to the Bears, and they kept saying no thank you. Now we're going into the season, it appears, unless they draft a running back here with DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson as your running backs.
It's interesting because I think that we're late enough in this draft that it would be surprising to see a 7th round pick emerge as like your go-to guy. Yeah. Has it happened before? Yeah. Isaiah Pacheco was a 7th round pick. It is a position where it's possible. It just seems unlikely. And I was already thinking about this like maybe an hour ago, still at House Hall. I was thinking, oh man, they haven't addressed running back. I mean, they might have to go out and find one to like in free agency still. And that's why there's we're not done with the player acquisition period. There's always another rush after the draft. But is it in Nick Chubb's a free agent?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just throwing random stuff out there right now, but that was not the route I was thinking the Bears would go. Quite frankly, even 6 hours ago, I was not thinking that.
Well, shout out to Dank Shots who just put one in the old YouTube chat. Guys, we have Ian Wheeler. Relax. It has been a great day for Ian Wheeler is in the mix here, baby. He's had a good day. Hopefully he's getting back healthy. One of our good dudes who's been on the show.
Yep.
I know Braggs, you've actually kept in contact with him. I'm rooting for Ian, but that it's just odd. It's just odd, man. We always talk about you can get a running back. There's not a huge margin between each one, but just for some reason the Bears Didn't really like any of them apparently that were on the board. We'll see what they do here coming up at 2:33. Good to see Kerry Huss, by the way, in the supers with $50. Made it back to Denver. Thanks again for a super fun night on Friday. See you next time at Bear Down. Appreciate you, Kerry Huss. Thank you so much.
Bears are making their pick here, by the way. They are. This will not
No
be
trade back.
This pick is coming in. Don't know what it is yet, but the Bears will be picking here at 2:33. This is the pick they got from Cleveland in a trade. I'm not remembering what it was now.
Yeah, and just going back to
trade.
the running back real quick before they make this pick, but Roschon Johnson so far has been underwhelming. I mean, I'm not going to write him off. He has every opportunity to work hard this summer and earn the trust of a new coaching staff, but then DeAndre Swift already has had this opportunity to win the trust of the head coach, and they once, jettisoned him out of Detroit for some different options in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. So, I'm not saying that, there's some contentious relationship there. I'm sure they can work together, but Ben Johnson has already shown his hand of looking for an upgrade when DeAndre Swift is on his roster. So they clearly are in a running back market to try to find one, whether it be this year or next year. So I do think that after the draft is over, whether they pick one here or not, they're going to be searching the waiver wire to see if they can add to that room.
Here it is. The fact that I just brought up Isaiah Pacheco, too.
There you go.
He went to Rutgers, right? He went to Rutgers?
I believe that's true.
Yes,
Kyle Manongai. If I got that right, that is an upset.
Running back
from Rutgers. There he is, 7th round, going full Isaiah Pacheco, looking for their guy. Super Bowl. Here the Bears come.
We did it.
That's the pick at numbers. If that wasn't clear, that's the Bears pick here at 2:33.
Brugler has him at number 20 in his list here. This is a steal, damn it.
He was still on the list here.
Where is he in the Hoge world?
I had a late 4th round grade on him.
Kyle Manongai. You want me to read what off the top?
I just didn't work on the pronunciation enough. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what Brugler said, and then I'll share my notes.
Yeah, his bullet point overall, Manongai lacks breakaway speed. That tends to be a good thing, but okay. But he can pick, slide, and weave through the defense with shifty quickness and run toughness. His competitive profile and promising reps on passing downs should make him an effective utility back in the NFL. 3-year starter at Rutgers, Manongai, featured weapon in offensive coordinator Kirk Soroka's zone blocking scheme that was built around the run game. Despite being one of the lowest ranked recruits in Greg Schiano's 2020 class, Manongai became one of the best running backs in the Big Ten, finished number 2 in school history with 3,221 yards. I'm now starting to remember him kill Northwestern. A first-generation Cameroonian-American, Manongai isn't going to stand out as the fastest or most powerful back in this class, but he runs hard and decisive, following his blocks on traps, and reaches to motor through gaps. His ball security, 0 career fumbles, you gotta like that, and overall dependability as a workhorse will be appreciated by NFL coaches.
Yeah, he's a little shorter, 5'8", did not run a fast 40, 4.6 for the running back position. But production's there. A lot of these guys we've been looking at, he sort of a 1-year wonder here, but did go over 1,200 yards. I'm sorry, the last 2 years he went over 1,200 yards. So 2-year wonder. First team All Big Ten last year, team captain. I see the fit here with what the Bears have with DeAndre Swift. But again, we're so late in this draft that it would be unfair to try to peg any type of expectation that he's going to come in and that's going to be like their 1-2 punch. I mean, this guy's getting drafted significantly later than Roschon Johnson did a couple years ago. So just keep those expectations in mind. But I did have a 4th round grade on him, more in that range. So I don't want to put any type of ceiling on him too. It's an interesting pick. I guess of the guys that were left, he would have been right up there among maybe 2 or 3 other guys that I would have been cool with at the spot. I mean, we're so late; it's hard to be against it at all. But the Bears do get their running back.
Well, and I don't want to step into Kyle Manongai's shoes here, and go too far here. But if I'm Kyle Manongai, I'm pretty happy that I got drafted by the Bears into this opportunity. He's got an opportunity. I mean, it's right in front of them there. You think you belong in the NFL? Well, dude, RB2 is wide open in Chicago. So let's see what you got.
Yeah, low center of gravity type of guy, right? He's gonna, have that kind of yin to DeAndre Swift's yang. I mean, I'll take depth in that room. That's what we just got done saying. They need to address that position. I wouldn't have had a problem if they had drafted 2 running backs here in this spot. So,
you're only allowed to draft 1.
You're only allowed to draft 1. That's fine. But
one player per pick.
I mean, that's why this pick was fairly obvious outside of the fact that everyone felt seemingly off the board. So, a guy that's, low center of gravity because he's shorter, but, knows how to use that weight and distribute his, size and strength to that order. I think that's going to play well here in a Ben Johnson office. But again, like you said, you can't overstate it as a 7th round pick. But this is an unusually deep running back class where, you can make the argument that there's 15 legitimate options of guys that could have a potential in this league. And so, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, and look, when you look at how the whole draft played out to that point, if the Bears were high on Travion Henderson, that just sucks that he went at 38 and you're drafting 39. If they were high on Cam Scadaboo, it sucks that he went at 105 and you're drafting at 109. And now, if you like the guy enough, it's in your power to move up and go get him. So Ryan Poles has a part in it, but there is also some, I don't know if you want to use the word unlucky or whatever it be, but if you liked those guys, they were sitting right there and they just went right in front of you. So they didn't really get a break.
Well, but here in the 7th, I mean, I think there's value here with this pick. And one of the things I've been a little bit disappointed in this draft is, I mean, take it for what it's worth, and you can, crap on my draft board all you want. That's fine. That's part of this process. It doesn't offend me. But this is one of the rare picks so far that the Bears have made. And in fact, it might technically be the only one. I think it is. In which they drafted a player that I had, later that I had rated way earlier. And part of that with Manongai is a couple things I really like about him. He is shorter, but he's patient and he'll let blocks set up. And then another thing it's a must for me no matter who the running back is. I need to see you fall forward on contact. Like even if you're getting tackled for 2 yards, I want to see it be 3 yards. I want to see that ball move in the forward direction as you're going down. And he does that. And then I'll give you a great nugget too. And this one's a courtesy of Dane Brugler. 0 career fumbles on 707 offensive touchdowns or touches, I should say. So that ball security, you got to love that too. So where the Bears are getting Kyle Manongai here, I like this pick.
Yeah, and while we're going through some of the people that really do a good job of breaking this stuff down, obviously, you always see me with the Dane Brugler, so I'll counter you with the Matt Waldman of the world. And as he broke down 60+ running backs, he had him ranked 14th, and as some of the things we're talking about with his low center of gravity, but he also adds Manongai would be at least close to one of my top 5 backs on the board if he was a better pass protector. He has work to do with positioning his body, so he's dictating terms with a balanced and controlled starting position at the point of collision. So it sounds like a guy that, obviously can run the ball, but to stay on the football field, you got to be able to protect the quarterback as well. So that's going to be something he has to work on. But you like the prospects of a guy that found his way into, Waldman's top 15 of a very deep and impressive running back class, where I think there's going to be a lot of different guys that, you see around the league. Damian Martinez with Seattle, Taj Brooks with Cincinnati. These guys, I do believe, are going to make plays in this league.
Well, and the Manongai excitement is building. I'm seeing Joey Christopoulos, who does a great job for us in a variety of roles. He's putting in the chat, loves him, calling him Mighty Mouse. And it does feel better just to me, like, okay, at least there is a running back in this class. It would have felt real awkward if they had come out of this like just completely not addressing the position at all.
Well, and part of it, yeah, and part of it is just sort of how things fell, which we're going to talk about here. Trey Colesy will actually talked about that earlier. Just, trying to stay patient, stay with the draft board, trust the draft board. And, the reality is, as we take a break here, you're not, I say this every year, not going to be able to address every need. You just can't draft every position high. There's just not enough picks. And so one of the positions every single year is going to get neglected. And it was nearly running back here. It's not completely neglected. And you know what? Safety is now a spot that we could talk about as somewhat neglected here. But that's the point. It's good somewhere. You're not going to be able to address something in the draft. So that's just sort of how this thing fell. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We're going to rate the picks coming up and hear from Fran Duffy as well. But first, just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to those big box stores. You wander endless aisles, then somehow you're hauling all those materials home, looking for an installer, coordinating everything for you. You don't want to do all that stuff. Those big box stores, they might have a flooring department, but they're not the experts like Empire Today. Empire Today is your best bet for a new floor because they live and breathe flooring. They'll be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. They're going to pick the right flooring in the right colors for your space, not somebody else's space, your furniture, your house. Get precise measurements taken, have all your questions answered so there's no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. That's right. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home, like this show today. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See Empire Today /CHGO for full details.
And light beer just got better. You know it. You love it. We're introducing to you Sam Adams American Light. Clean, crisp, super easy to drink, and a phenomenal choice after a nice 3-day draft. No gimmicks, no fluff. The good stuff here. It's not your average light beer. Brewed with 100% American-sourced ingredients from local independent farmers. Light beer made right, tastes delicious, no compromise, and it's always Sam's season. Grab yourself a Sam Adams American Light. It's available now at select Chicago retailers. You do have to be 21. Please drink responsibly. Shout out to our friends at Boston Beer.
All right, keeping things moving here, and we got a new segment for you that's perfect for today. It is brought to you by Rate.com. It's one app that helps with both your wallet and your well-being. Download the Rate app today to get started. Go ahead and check out that QR code on your screen. Download the app. And today we're going to be rating the picks from the NFL draft, courtesy of Rate.com here. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to give our favorite pick and our least favorite pick. Steven's going to jump in on this one too. Carm, you ready to go?
I am, Adam.
You can say no.
I'm absolutely positively ready to go. I didn't know I was getting to lead off here. So look, all right. Look, my favorite pick of the day. Let's start on the positive side here. Favorite pick of the day. I'm going with Luther Burden because when he was asked at I forget who, I think it was Alex Shapiro, it doesn't matter. It was a great question by the great Chicago Bears media. What are you looking to prove? I want to prove something. And his answer was to be the best. And to me, if you're looking at a high ceiling dude who could absolutely transform this offense, Luther Burden in the slot, causing all sorts of problems, being Deebo Samuel, maybe even greater or just right there. I'm super excited about that potential. Plus, if it goes sideways with this guy's personality, it could be really sideways, and which I don't want for the Bears, but there's going to be a level of just, this is a different cat in that locker room. So I like him for a lot of reasons. I'm hoping he's going to be really productive on the field. Now, on the other side of the coin, my least favorite pick, it's not so much the pick itself, and I already got into as the Ruben Hyppolite, but I'm looking at Ozzie Trapillo. the trade itself, when you had a left tackle sitting right there for you at 41, and you decided to trade out of that to go down to 56 and pull in 62. I didn't understand that because it didn't make sense with a fit, and it didn't make sense with the board at the time. So just the whole philosophy of that trade down, I get it. I suppose they didn't like Ursary, but so many people did, to move out of that spot and then to draft Trapillo, who's not rated higher. I hope he's right, but I think that was my most confusing moment of the entire draft.
All right, Carm's best is, or favorite pick, Luther Burden, least Ozzie Trapillo. Brags.
Yeah, I'm right there with Carm on my best. Luther Burden is an exciting player, and I think, for a lot of teams there'd be a question of how he's going to be able to fit with whatever character concerns you have, but I have all the faith in Antoine Randall, who's coming over here, not just as a wide receivers coach, but a assistant head coach here. And you already saw it. If you had an opportunity to watch the video of them calling Luther Burden and George McCaskey and Kevin Warren and Ben Johnson, they all talked to him. Well, then watch how Luther Burden lights up when Antoine Randall gets on the phone. So I think there's going to be a good connection there. The talent speaks for itself. This guy can take the top off of a defense, makes a lot of different plays, shifty, fast, hands, slot fade all day. This is a guy that can make plays and certainly can fill that Jameson Williams role. And when you look at what the Lions have been the last few years, Jameson has, been suspended and different things. And when he finally took off, the Lions offense really took to another level. So you have an opportunity here now with Luther Burden to be able to really put some pressure and put teams in binds to try to figure out how you're going to cover everybody. Now, my worst.
Hey, Greg, real quick, because I want to make sure I got this nugget in. And so before you get off of Burden, because we haven't, I don't know if this has come out elsewhere, but we haven't talked about it yet on our shows. Do you guys know the connection with Jameson Williams here?
I do not.
He actually played with Jameson Williams his freshman year in high school.
Wow.
At Cardinal Ritter College Prep, which is a private Catholic school in St. Louis. It's courtesy of Dane Brugler. And he ended up finishing his career at East St. Louis in Illinois, playing in the IHSA state championship. But being a St. Louis guy, before he went across the river to do that, he was at a private school in St. Louis, and his teammate was Jameson Williams. So you talk about that connection with Antoine Randall, boom, there it is. I mean, they had Jameson Williams in Detroit, Ben Johnson. I think he looks at this like a challenge for him that he's embracing. And then you got Antoine Randall, who we've seen the videos. We've talked about the videos with Jameson Williams. We've heard Antoine Randall talk about what it was like coaching him. Yep. So there's a lot of similarities here. And I think that connection right there is probably a big reason why the Bears took this gamble on a very talented, no question, very talented kid in Luther Burden.
Yeah, for sure. And I was talking to my buddy Shane earlier today, and he made a really good point. Years past, this might be a guy the Bears might not take. And they've assembled a coaching staff now here where you've brought in a few guys that got a chip on their shoulder this season that maybe sometimes the Bears would look over. And I thought that was a really good point because sometimes, you got to take on some things when you're trying to get some playmakers on your team. Everybody kind of comes from different backgrounds and has different stories, but everybody matures at a different pace as well. And everybody should have an opportunity to, enter their professional career and have an opportunity to mature too. So here is hoping that Luther Burden can find that in his life. So my worst is Ruben Hyppolite. And this is really nothing against him, the player. It's more about the pick. Because for me, as I just got done saying and ranting and raving to start the show, there was plenty of running backs available at that point. And so, whether there's different prognosticators out there that had a 7th round grade or a UDFA grade or whatever you had on them, you had some running backs there where you could have taken one then. You wait all the way until the 7th round. Okay, you sound like you got a bowling ball, in Kyle Manongai. But I would have personally taken a running back with that pick and not Hyppolite. And it's nothing against him as the player. Linebacker is something you got to plan for ahead here in the future. So I don't know from a priority standpoint if it was necessarily there, but it sounds like he's got some intangibles they're looking for, including speed. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I would have personally taken a running back.
And wrapping up this rate.com segment, rating the Bears picks. My favorite pick, the more and more I thought about it, is Shamar Turner. Now there's a big if here because he's got to stay healthy, but if he stays healthy, and it sounds like he is, he told us today at House Hall that he should be good to go for rookie minicamp. So, and Poles talked last night about how he was able to participate in his pro day. So things are pointing in the right direction there. And I think he is just a perfect fit. His attitude today, the way he plays, that violence, turning it on. I think he's a great fit to be in there with Grady Jarrett and Andrew Billings and Javon Dexter. Like, I feel way better about the interior of this defensive line than I did, a month and a half ago before the Bears brought Grady Jarrett in and now have made a draft pick here. So I think that's my favorite pick so far. And then I'm going to go opposite of you guys. My least favorite, I think, is Luther Burden.
Wow.
And it has nothing to do with the talent here. I mean, I see the talent. It has more to do, I think, with the strategy. Like, in some ways, I feel like with a few of these picks, they've created more problems than answers. I would have much rather see a running back here. They didn't need another wide receiver in that spot. And I'm little worried about the target shares going around because it's not just Burden. You just drafted Colston Loveland. So you just added two guys that are going to command targets, and you drafted Roma Dunze last year who needs to take this big step up. So I certainly appreciate what Ryan Poles said last night about this idea that everyone's going to have to step up and realize, hey, man, your numbers might go down, but we're going to win a lot more football games. And I hope that's how it all plays out. But this is also a guy in Luther Burden. He's going to want the football, man. He's just one of those guys. Like, you could already see this is a different type of character that you're going to be bringing in. I again, appreciate how they feel confidence. And with the Jameson Williams connection, there's evidence that Antoine Randall L is going to be able to manage all this. So I'm optimistic about that. It just, I don't know. I just feel like it created an extra problem rather than an answer, despite how good he is.
Yeah, I do ask myself, like, in 6 months when we're in the middle of the season and the left tackle's having trouble protecting the quarterback and we're having trouble getting to the quarterback on the other side of the ball, and what the alternate universe, if they had drafted Michael Williams and then Ariante Ursary in the second round, like, what grade would we be giving the Bears right now if they had done that? I guarantee Bears fans would have been happy with that. So they didn't go Trent Strunk to start, and they go with the skill position guys. So I understand where you're coming from. I think it's the fan in me and a lot of others, their natural instinct is to kind of look how this can positively turn out. But I understand where you're coming from about creating more problems, but hopefully they are good problems to have.
More
Real
receivers,
quick before
more
you
money.
wrap this up, Carm, making a prediction. We will be talking about this in week 4, week 5. Like, it will be a storyline. I just feel like it will be. Go ahead, Carm.
Man, I think this whole draft is going to be a storyline. Hey, just shout out to the 2,000 plus people that are watching us right now. If you want to help out the show, by the way, and one of our advertisers, rate.com is awesome. And the Rate app in front of you, it's not just for mortgages. You want to get healthy? They got the yoga yard. They got the Zen Den. They've got 98 guided classes in the Zen Den. You want to get healthy with the nutrition kitchen brags. 15 classes on sports nutrition, nutrient density, meal plan. Like, there's literally everything on this thing. You want to scan that QR code, your life will get better. Shout out to our friends at Rate. And I know we got Fran Duffy coming up.
We do. So let's take our next time out here. But first, if you've ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, do what Carm just told you to do. We're going to tell you to do it again. That's why we got to tell you about the Rate app. It's seriously a game changer. Even if you're just dealing with money stuff in general, it can be a lot. Rate app's going to help. You can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without the need to jump through a million hoops. If you're thinking about a home equity loan or a personal loan, you can secure one in under 15 days. The Rate app also helps you find the best homeowners and auto insurance, which is huge, based on what you actually need, not a whole bunch of stuff you don't. The whole thing is powered by AI, so it's smart. It saves you time and money. And something that's an unexpected bonus, what Carm was just telling you about, they've added over 800 free wellness videos to the app. Stuff like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, basically tools to help you feel better mentally and physically. So if you're stressed out about a loan or your mortgage, seriously, just let the Rate app handle it. Once that's covered, you can go hit one of their free wellness videos to chill out. It's one app that helps you helps both your wallet and well-being. Download the Rate app today to get started.
And shout out to our friends at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been doing it in Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now's the time to get that air conditioning checked out. Four Seasons expert, they're ready to help you with the AC installation, maintenance, and repair. 2024, let's not forget, that was Chicago's hottest year on record. The heat index getting up to 114 degrees at O'Hare. Listen, you need the help at Four Seasons, and their expert technicians, they ensure you'll always receive reliable service. Four Seasons doesn't charge more for service nights, weekends, holidays. Your AC never goes out at 2 in the afternoon. It's always 10 o'clock at night. Boom. Four Seasons on the way over. No extra charge. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That is fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
Well, if our next guest didn't download the Rate app while we kept him waiting, I just don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's not like he's got
Fran.
anything to do right now. Fran Duffy joined us. He's done such a great job for months and months and months leading up to the draft. And, of course, we've had him all weekend long. Very fortunate to have Fran Duffy's insights. Fran, I have a feeling the Bears are not your favorite team in the NFL today. They've their board has not really done you very many favors with trying to, I don't know, drafting guys that
it was
have in the fourth round. Like, what the hell's going on here?
They were the first player, or they were the first team in the NFL, and I actually think the only team. I'm pretty sure I got to go back through the seventh round. Obviously, it's not done yet, but the only team to draft a player that I didn't have in the database. And what's ironic about it is, like, Ruben Hyppolite, the linebacker from Maryland, like, he came on the scene because of the pro day, right? And with what he did at the pro day. And so I talking with a scout, a Northeast scout, was like, hey, like, what's the deal with this kid? And he just didn't make it in the. I didn't study him, but I got the skinny on him, and that's what's unfortunate about it. I was like, all right, I could have created the entry and put him in there. The comp I got was Stephen Tulloch. So obviously Bears fans well aware of Stephen Tulloch during his time with the Lions. Tulloch, by that point, he had already been through Tennessee, and so he was a little bit older in his career, but was a squatty linebacker. The straight line, acceleration, the speed all kind of showed up early on in Tulloch's career. But this is a guy that's more of a box player. And we'll see. I mean, obviously, look, when you get into day three, a lot of teams feel like we're going to draft off traits and we're going to draft off flashes. And when I look at this group here, I look at Hyppolite, I look at Frazier. These are guys that fit that mold. Newman, I kind of like Luke Newman. This is a guy I watched live at the Shrine Bowl. Did a little bit of work, not enough to completely write him up, but I did a little bit of work on him, more at Michigan State than necessarily Holy Cross, where he started his career. But I liked Luke Newman, seeing him up close, and honestly going through drills at the Shrine Bowl. And then Kyle Manongai is a local guy. I've been watching him for long enough now. He's a workman-like back. He doesn't wow you from a traits standpoint, but I mean, the guy never put the ball on the ground his entire career. The vision's there. The competitiveness is there. So, to me, when I look at this group, there's a little bit of a mixed bag where it's like, okay, you got some traits players, and then you have your workman-like kind of run-of-the-mill. This is what you come to expect. You kind of know what you're getting. It's clear packaging type of prospects.
What do you think about the running back, Fran? Did the Bears, do you think they hit a home run here late in the seventh round?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good class, and so you were going to be able to find a guy like this late. And that was is he Ashton Genty? Is he any of these guys that went, first round, second round, third round? No, from a physical standpoint. And there's not that one A trait. I think when I'm looking at Kyle Manongai, where I get excited about, but I think when you look at it, it's more just the full body of work. And again, you know what to expect. And I think the vision is solid. The play strength is solid. It's just a lot of, you guys know, like, I color code my notes, right? So it's a lot. It's blue if it's a heavy positive. It's red if it's a negative, and then it's I don't touch the color of the text if it's right in between. it's a lot. There's not a lot of color. It's in black and white ink. If I'm going to print out that scouting report on Kyle Manongai.
Hoge just got super jealous by your process right there.
But this is interesting, Fran. This whole draft started for the Chicago Bears with a million rumors and reports that they might trade up for Ashton Jeanty. And I think that was legit. Like, I think it was something that was discussed, and they're just like, look, the price is just too much. It's not worth it. And here they end up 5'8", 211. That's what Ashton Jeanty is. Kyle Manongai is 5'8", 211. This is like Ashton Jeanty light. I mean, really is, like, because it's similar to what you said. There's not many backs in this draft that check all the running back boxes that you want.
Right.
Not trying to make a comp here. Ashton Jeanty checks all of the boxes at a higher level than Kyle Manongai. But Kyle Manongai is one of the few other guys that you can make the argument does check, most of the boxes that you're looking for, if not all of them. Maybe not the huge volume in the pass catching side of things, but
sure,
I could see why, with it starting with Ashton Jeanty in the first round, and then seemingly 3 times they trade back after running backs get taken ahead of them, they finally land on the really light version of Ashton Jeanty way down in the 7th.
Well, it was the really, really the really light version.
Yeah.
But
come on, I'm stretching here. I'm trying to make Bears fans feel better.
Hoge, you're gonna hurt yourself, man. You gotta kind of tone it down a little bit. No, but in all reality, like this is a kid that I'm not shocked at all that Manongai got drafted. I was a little worried just because of the depth of this class, but I still thought this guy had a chance. And again, when you speak to coaches, when you speak to teammates of Kyle Manongai, they rave about this kid. A 2-year captain. This was a player that was known for his practice habits and the way that he led by example. When he spoke, everybody listened. So again, like, represents everything you want on and off the field, and was just super reliable. Now you're gonna come in and you guys know what that backfield looks like. Who are you going to be able to steal touches from, right? All right, you have Roschon Johnson. What is his role going to be here in 2025 compared to what his role was in the previous iteration of the offense? I'm interested to see what Ben Johnson's vision is for this entire group. How do guys kind of settle in? What does that mean for Manongai? What does that mean for the other guys that are there? That's going to be fascinating to see it play out throughout the course of the summer.
You're muted, Greg.
I don't know how that happened. I didn't want you guys hearing my heavy breathing. So,
one of the best moments in show history. I'm kidding.
I breathe heavy, so I was just being
good thing you were still muted too when you reacted to being muted. It seemed like.
Yeah, exactly. And you didn't hear me curse. Fran, I'm curious about Luke Newman. I found that to be an interesting pick. I've been very obsessive about bolstering this offensive line, and it seems like this guy, has some upside to him, even though he was taken late.
Yeah, I honestly, like I said earlier, I saw him at the Shrine Bowl. That was my first exposure to him. And I thought the Shrine Bowl had a decent group of offensive linemen compared to other years that I've been at that game and watched film from that game. 6'3.5", 312 pounds. He's got really, really short arms. And so even though he played guard over the course of his career at Holy Cross and at Michigan State, I thought this guy's going to be a center. And most of his time at the Shrine Bowl was spent at center. But he looked like a nice, competent zone center. Fast off the ball, good with his hands. He's a great kid. I spent a lot of time talking to him down at the Shrine Bowl. And this was a guy that, again, after talking with him, going through film for a few days, I was like, you know what? He looks like a backup center for a zone team. And then we were actually talking about on the show, we were buzzing through all the teams in the All-City Network over here on PHOI. And when I got to this pick with the Bears, I said, you know what? He is perfect as a backup to Drew Dahlman. It's the same archetype of player. I like Dahlman a lot coming out. I had a starting grade on Drew Dahlman when he was coming out of Stanford. So he goes in the 4th round, obviously goes to the Atlanta Falcons and takes over that job. I was high on him coming out. Not as high on Luke Newman, but I do view him as a same archetype of player. Undersized, squattier blocker, best fit in a zone scheme, probably a center only. I like this pick. I was perfectly fine with it.
Fran, you want to give the Bears a grade? Go ahead. People are on the edge of their seats. I am.
Yeah, for me, look, I Hoge, I get the reservations there, and I know it's going to be a crowded room in terms of pass targets, especially if they're going to be a run heavy offense. And again, we talked about this last night, but it's the same thing here in Philadelphia. If the offense is going to be a run game focused out, where Saquon Barkley is going to get a lot of carries and Jalen Hurts is going to get a lot of carries, how many balls are going to go around for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert? And what does that mean if you trade a third-round pick for Jahan Dotson? How many touches is this guy realistically going to get? It's the same situation now when you've got DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and 2 tight ends and now Luther Burden, and you want to run the ball. It's a lot of touches to go around. So you hope that the defense is able to hold up their end of the bargain so that the offense can stay on the field and get these guys all the passes, all the targets that they want. That said, like, I love the Luther Burden talent, right? To me, like, if we're a class star for playmakers on offense, I thought he was one of the rare birds in this group. And so I'm good with that pick. The Colston Loveland pick, I see the vision, and so that I can appreciate it from that standpoint. A little bit rich for me personally, but I understand the vision there. Ozzie Trapillo, I thought was solid. Shamar Turner, I liked the value there late in round 2. And we talked about round 3. Look, if there's 4 picks on round 3 or on day 3, if one of them hits and becomes like a quality impact role player, that's a fine outcome as long as some of these other guys early can hit. I would say a B, like B minus. I would say if I were to give a grade, like that's probably where I'm at right now when I look at the Bears. I'm going to be writing this up early this week, though.
Yeah, love it. And I will say that's kind of where I was last night. I think it's still where I am. I do feel better that they got Kyle Manongai to end this thing. You can go ahead, Carmen. I do want to ask about Zay Frazier, though, before we let Frank.
Yeah. Well, I just think it was interesting that you mentioned Trapillo. Do you look at him as equal to Ursary? I forget where you had him ranked, friend. Or how does that one stack out to you?
Yeah, I thought Ursary had higher upside personally. Like I thought that he looked like a guy, even though he has flaws, like he's far from a finished product, and that's why he fell as far as he did. A little rough around the edges, but I think when you're looking at the overall power, a guy that has his explosive traits at his size, I just thought there was a little bit more there. Trapillo is probably a higher floor. Proven swing versatility, has started at left and right tackle. I felt good about him as a swing tackle. I thought he would be more like low-end starter, high-end backup, whereas with Ursary, I thought even with his flaws, there are plenty of guys that have his flaws that are still starters, right? Like even if he doesn't hit like his full ceiling, I still feel like he can be a competent starter in the NFL at tackle, especially for a team that wants to rely on like vertical displacement, that push up the field, the power run scheme. So I liked Ursary a little bit more personally. But yeah, that's how I would compare those 2 players.
I was at House Hall day, and we're going to go through each of these picks from today in a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why Ozzie kind of won me over a little bit. I'm a little bit more optimistic about this than I was yesterday, so we'll have that coming up on the show. Zay Frazier, Fran, Dennis Allen and I are like the handshake emoji when it comes to tall, long, speedy outside corners. Like I am a sucker for them all the time. I've been burned by it before, so I don't care that this guy's 186. The fact that he's tall, he's long, he ran a 4.3 640. I'm okay with this pick. I don't care that he's old. I don't care that he's barely played. He's got those traits. Sometimes you got to take a swing on traits. You might lose out because of it, but I understand this traits pick.
No question. This is the area of the draft where you're going to take those swings. Like if this kid played 3 years, and if this kid had 3 years of starting experience at Georgia Tech, right? Like in the ACC, he's going in the 2nd round, right? Like that's when you're looking at the players with those traits that they're going to go high in the draft. He only falls to where he fell in the draft because he's got 10 starts. He's got less than 600 snaps played on defense. That's fewer than any corner drafted in the last decade. This guy has barely played. He started at Southern Illinois 2019, goes 2 years to junior college, goes to UTSA for the last 3 seasons, was a backup, 10 tackles in 2 seasons between 2022 and 2023. Doesn't start until this year, and even then, he only started 10 of 12 games, so he came off the bench for 2 other games. So the guy has barely played, but you can't teach 6'3" with 33-inch arms and 4.3 speed, right? And he had 6 picks this year as a school record, so he does that in that limited time. You're betting on the traits, right? And at the end of the day, when you get to that point in the draft, we know, like I've said it numerous times, like Ryan Poles bet on the flashes. The flashes are great with this kid. To me, this was a Bears pick all the way. Made a lot of sense.
I'm not fighting back here, but I got to tell you, I have amazing traits to be a great accountant. 5'10", out of the North Shore. I'd be horrible. I couldn't do it. Like it doesn't. He never played. It's like,
yeah.
What the hell is that? How about the guy that actually was able to start and play? Like,
well, he did have 6 interceptions this year.
I watched his tape. I listened to him talk. I'm optimistic to see what he can do. But it's just on some level, it's crazy. I mean, my traits, I should be a great lawyer. I'd be the worst lawyer ever.
Well,
I'd hire you, Carm.
Thank you, Fran.
I would not. There's no chance. But I think with a frustration, Fran, a little bit. We'll let you go here. I know you got a million things to do, but it's just maybe that, to Carm's point, those types of picks just seem to like sort of stack up here a little bit. Like it was just like they reached for this guy that maybe went undrafted at linebacker. Now they're going traits on the corner. Luke Newman was at Holy Cross for 4 years before he ends up in the big. So I think that's just where a lot of Bears fans are today, with a little bit of just sort of like this. I don't know how excited that we are.
Yeah, and look, and I do get it, right? Because we've kind of heard this song and dance before. Velus Jones, like he's a longtime college player, but look at the flashes, what he did early on, or as a returner, and what you kind of dream on what he can be. Dominique Robinson, he was a receiver this whole time, right? Oh, but he's going to be a pass rusher, and watch what he can do, and he fizzles out. But I would say, like, you look around the league, and there are some success stories with this. Well, obviously, the one that people pointed to with Frazier was Tariq Woolen, right? He was a former receiver, got moved to corner late, tested outstanding, didn't play in college, barely played in college. Then he goes and he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, a game damn near close to winning Defensive Rookie of the Year a couple years ago, right? So there are the success stories, and so you're hoping that that's going to be you. You're hoping that we're going to get this guy in. It's a minimal asset. Let's bring him in and see if he can make a splash here in a secondary where we feel good about the guys that are starting now, and now we're playing with house money if he's able to hit.
Before you go, real quick, I don't care about the rest of the NFL, but I am curious about the NFC North. Can you give me a grade on who you thought did the best, or rank the teams? I don't know how extensively. I mean, I asked this, and I know you're going to ring off all these teams in numerical order here.
By the way, we'll also have Fran on this week to kind of.
That's what I was. That was the other thing
picture.
I was curious about was, are we ever going to see this man again the rest of the summer? Because
you're not getting rid of me. You're not getting rid of me. I'm here. We're bringing down undrafted free agents. We're projecting these guys moving forward. So now
I was going to say rapid fire. Still, we got UDFAs to go over. You're not going anywhere.
No, we could talk through. But I mean, it was a very Detroit Lions draft. The Vikings didn't have many picks at all. I thought the Lions, there was a lot of workman-like players. They took some swings on some players. It's like, I can't believe they traded up for that guy in the third round. Those kind of situations. And then with Green Bay, I actually went through their class earlier today. I didn't love what Green Bay did overall. I liked their second-round pick, Anthony Belton. I thought it was a little ery for Savion Williams in the third round. I didn't love Matthew Golden in the first round personally. That's just a profile that I had trouble betting on. I thought that they were just okay. Honestly, like, I would argue that I feel just as good about Chicago, if not better, than any of the other groups that selected from the NFC North.
There it is.
That's what I was looking for. That's why I fished for that question.
Yeah,
good job.
Greg.
Hey,
here's the best part about if for some reason you haven't signed up to become a diehard and get Fran's draft guide, the whole database, all these profiles, well, you can still do it today and read up on all of these picks. And as soon as he gets done breaking down all these UDFAs and stuff with us this week, he's jumping right into next year, and we're gonna have all this stuff rolling it back. So you're getting next year's value too by signing up today. So scan that QR code, become a CHGO diehard. You get 20% off all merch, all events. And we still got the sale going on too. So it's only $3 a month right now, $36 for the entire year. It's a limited time intro offer through the draft. Do not miss it. Sign up now. Fran, congratulations. This has been outstanding. And we appreciate all the work, because I know it's an insane amount of work, and we just greatly, greatly appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, you're not getting rid of me. I'll be on as long as you guys need me. So we'll talk through undrafted free agents for the Kansas City Chiefs if you want to. We'll do every team in the NFL, Bragg.
All right. I'll hold you to that. And so will the diehards, because they've got
right.
rapid fires for you.
Let's keep the rapid fires coming every week.
I love
All
it.
right, there he is, Fran Duffy. Who I'm
Fran, historic job, Fran. Fran history.
A phenomenal job.
Not your best work, Carl.
No,
That
no,
one
that was
didn't
bad.
work.
I'm petering out at the end here because I've done phenomenal so many times that I needed something else and I failed. That's terrible.
It's okay.
Fran, I'm sure I'll be bothering you all day tomorrow with text, so we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good, guys.
Hey, I got home last night and Krista was like, I think Carver fell asleep for 10 seconds at one point.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Crystal or Krista? Krista, you got home and you talked to Krista, right? That's how that worked.
No, when I got home, I talked to my wife, not Crystal.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, just, Crystal had beef with me yesterday, so I think she was talking slander. Krista, come on, Mama Hoge, you can't be coming at me like that. You're got to be Team Carm.
I defended you, by the way. I'm like, I don't think he has done it before, but I don't think it happened.
I think I had one minor yawn at one point. There was.
I definitely yawned both nights at some point.
There was a yawn in there at some point.
Yeah. All right. Hey, we got one more break here. Then we're gonna go through all these picks from Saturday. But first, we're spring cleaning at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. Come in and get fresh savings during our spring clearance sales event, like 0% financing for 60 months, $0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, plus 0 hidden fees on select new Chevy models. Or you can check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. And with one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. Because they're one of the top Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you'll get a great deal. Plus, they have raised price promise, meaning the prices we're telling you here are the price you pay. That's the price you pay when you go into the store. There's no haggling, nothing to worry about. They don't change the price on you. That is raised price promise. So go see for yourself. Visit our partner at their convenient location right off of Route 12 in Fox Lake, and don't miss out on their spring clearance sales event going on all month long. For 0% financing on select new Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
And thank you to our friends at Timeline. They sell health and longevity supplements, and they have their proprietary Mito Pure ingredient, which works with the cells in your body to help reverse age-related decline, which I need right in my Achilles right now. Thank you, Timeline. Benefits include increased strength, energy, endurance. They've been doing this for over 15 years with the research, and they've got over 30 U.S. patents for their products. Listen, this is the good stuff here. Mito Pure is the only supplement clinically proven to rejuvenate health at the cellular level. That's where you really need to get it to have that impact that you're looking for. Mito Pure is shown to deliver double-digit increases in muscle strength and endurance without a change in exercise. Just do what you keep on doing, Gregory, and you will win. Get ready to be your best, most energized, most revitalized you. Right now, Timeline giving you 10% off your order of Mito Pure. Go to timeline.com/CHGO to get started. That is timeline.com/CHGO. Timeline.com/CHGO.
All right, I want to back up here just a second because Stephen was we kind of ran out of time in that last segment. He did not he wasn't able to give us his favorite pick and his least favorite pick. So Stephen, why don't you jump in here and give us that?
Yeah, I mean, no surprise. I think you guys all know my favorite pick is going to be Luther Burden. I think he's just a multiplier for that entire offense. I mean, I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. If I would have told you guys last year that you were getting the number 1 wide receiver at that time in the next year's draft, we would all be ecstatic. That's what he was at that time. He's fallen off a little bit since then due to a lack of production at Missouri. It's just a 1-year drop-off. I'm confident that we're going to see the guy that looked like 2 years ago rather than the one that we saw this past season. So he's absolutely going to be my favorite. And I'm cheating a little bit here. My least favorite pick was the pick that Brian Poles made in trading back from that second round pick. I just really wanted the offensive tackle or running back right there. You had a chance to do it. You gambled. You didn't get him. And Ariante Ursary, Caleb Johnson. There was just some guys there that I would have really preferred that we didn't get the chance to see become a Chicago Bear. And now we're talking about Manongai as our the one running back we got, or Trapilo as the offensive tackle that we highlighted here. So it wasn't that they were the worst picks by any means. It was just it wasn't the guys that I wanted to see.
Let me jump in here then and tell you what I teased earlier about Ozzie Trapilo. And what if I told you that he shows up at Hallis Hall this offseason and has a Braxton Jones-like rise, but it's at right tackle. And the Bears are like, you know what? We think this guy's a starter. We're gonna try him at right tackle where he's been much more comfortable. I think talking to him today, you kind of hear that they made that move from left to right where he played the last couple of years, partially out of because other guys on the roster, but also he was just more comfortable over there. And then they moved they moved Darnell Wright over to the left. And now there's a lot of people who don't want to do that. But what if I told you, if I could tell you that I'm guaranteeing Ozzy Trapilo is an adequate starter as a rookie at right tackle, are you okay with moving Darnell Wright over to the left side and that being your starting five?
I will start here. I do not like the idea of this. Darnell Wright has already been solid at right tackle, ascending there at that position. I don't like messing with that. On top of that, who is going to back up Trapilo, right? You've got Braxton Jones and Karan Amagaji. Do we know if they can play right tackle in a pinch?
I think Karan in that scenario becomes your swing tackle.
Do we know he can do that? Has he shown that at any point in his career so far?
He better be, dude. I think one of the mistakes we make as media or fans is thinking that every draft pick is being drafted to be a starter, when in reality, these guys end up in certain rounds because, if the Bears have a 3rd round grade on a player, they're not projecting that guy to be a Hall of Famer. They're projecting that guy to maybe be a low end starter, or in the case of an offensive tackle, a swing tackle, a good swing tackle, a good one.
Well, I agree. I mean, I've been saying that Karan Amagaji's ceiling could be to be a swing tackle, but that's could be. He hasn't gotten to that point yet. He has never played right tackle. So to now say we're going to make this switch this summer and Karan Amagaji is going to be the backup at the right side, that would make me extremely nervous. So I'll let Carm go, but to me, I'm not messing with Darnell Wright, and I'm going to see what Trapilo can do on the left side. I'm going to let Braxton Jones get healthy. I'm going to let Karan Amagaji develop.
I mean, I think you're just jumping ahead, Greg, down the road here. Like, you're worried about the backup. To me, the big thing is you are robbing Peter in theory to pay Paul, hopefully not doing that, but you're taking away a strength, what was the strength of last year's offensive line, right tackle, and you're taking that out and you're trying to experiment to see if he can do it. And you're doing the same thing with a rookie over there. So now you're playing with both tackles. Now, that to your question though, Hoge, I love the idea in concept if it can work. You used the number 10 overall pick on this guy. He's under contract for affordable money for the next couple of years. You don't have a good situation at left tackle. If Darnell Wright can do it, and I don't care who plays right tackle let them all compete. Trapilo, Jones, and Karan. To me, if Dan Rushar, who's your new offensive coordinator, thinks he can do it, and Darnell's down for it, I would sign off on it. But you are making it's a big time risk. But they can always flip back and go back if it doesn't work.
Yeah, for me, the 3 most expensive positions in the NFL, it's quarterback, it's edge rusher, and it's left tackle. So Braxton Jones becomes a free agent after this coming season. You need to exhaust everything that you have to find out who can play left tackle. If that's Darnell Wright, I'm okay with it, just because we need to keep some of that money just circulating to keep the free agents coming through. And Braxton Jones, he's adequate. He still won't be cheap at free agency. So if Darnell Wright could play left tackle and Braxton Jones isn't ready come training camp, I'm willing to explore it. But if Braxton Jones is healthy, I still think we just keep them right where they've been their entire careers, and we just roll with it like that.
Well, the reason why I brought up that question is because I watched some more tape on Ozzy. I liked what I heard from him today. I know he was in a suit, not football pads and stuff like that, but the dude's massive. I mean, he's a tall dude, and yeah, he looks like Adam Johns. That didn't come up until we got done last night, but he does. It's crazy. There's definitely.
Dr. Bunny had that take.
What's that?
Dr. Bunny had that take. That one's making the rounds. Trapilo is Johns. Johns is Trapilo.
Well, someone said he looks like Adam Johns, but with Pat Norton's hair. It might have been Pat who said that.
You guys are upgrading Johns in my mind, but that's
okay.
we can.
Wow,
shots fired. But meanwhile, I like
Jealousy.
what he was talking a lot about, just his willingness to move over to the right, more comfortable there, and how much of a technician he takes pride in being a technician. He seems like a very bright, just one of those reliable, consistent players. We talked about last night the lack of penalties. That's because he's a technician. I think he's going to be one of these guys that coaches learn to trust. And I like that, because I don't know, the Bears have had too many penalties up front. And so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not trying to make any predictions yet. The guy I haven't even seen him at rookie minicamp, but this was a 2nd round pick. So think about what I just said about drafting somebody in the 3rd round. Now, a 2nd rounder is different. That's somebody you're thinking can be a solid starter for you. And the idea of, well, if you want him to be a solid starter, he might only be able to play on the right side. I think people need to open up their brain a little bit to the idea of Darnell Wright moving.
Well, and Poles talked about it out of nowhere. Yeah, well, we drafted Darnell because he can play both sides. Whoa, dude, where did that come from? So that adds up to what you're saying.
Okay.
Explain to me when people say that Darnell Wright has the feet of a left tackle and he plays right tackle. Explain that for me, if you could, Adam.
Well, just sort of and I kind of downplayed this last night too, and I do think this has been a trend in the league that right has started to matter more, not as much as left, but certainly maybe the gap there has closed. But typically your more athletic guys with the higher traits are going to be on the left side. So I think that's what, when people say that, they're like, oh, well, he's been a right tackle. That's where he finished college. That's where he's been drafted to play, and he's played there for 2 years. So he's a right tackle. But if he had to move from the athletic profile, he has the feet to do it. He has the athleticism to do it. So I think that's where that's coming from. We don't have to keep talking about that. I do want to get through today's picks. We spent a lot of time talking about the picks made on Thursday and Friday, and plus we're only taking 1 day off. We are going to breathe tomorrow, but Monday we'll be right back, and that's what we'll be doing all week. Carm will have Ozzy Trapillo's family tree and a graphic for you by Tuesday, I promise.
I'm going to say,
I want to know
yeah,
everything about Luther Burden's. Does he have 8 sisters or 9 sisters?
9.
Wow.
I think he's one of 10, and we'll get into his birth order and the psychology of that. We'll do all the things here. Don't you worry. And I'll give you a full breakdown on all the press conferences. I thought that Trapillo today, that dude, he's like the professor, man. He was most easygoing, smart, like non-football player that I've seen in a while. I was impressed. It's a compliment, I think.
Okay. What does non-football player mean?
Well,
okay.
he just, he didn't, he wasn't about to eat the table like, some guys are when they're, get drafted.
All right, let's focus on today's pick. Before we even bring up Ruben Hyppolite from Maryland, we have a cut from Trey Koziel, who's the Bears director of player personnel, because this, it was a talking point all day. Trust me, about the fact that running backs were coming off the board. The Bears were trading back. They weren't addressing the position. They didn't do it till their last pick. And so he addressed that, and this idea that they were just doing their best to stay true to the board that they spent months and months and months, really a full year working on to a finished product. You do want to stay true to it.
Let the board dictate the value of the players, right? And, the more you can stay true to the board and the value of all the work that we've put in over the past, 8 to 10 months through this process, the better off you'll be. So, I think when you start deviating from that is when you can get yourself into a little bit of trouble. But like I said, we still have some picks left, and we'll see what the board says for that.
And on that topic, Carm, you made a fair comment earlier on the show about how you didn't like the Bears trading back in the second round. Steven said the same thing, but you made reference to there were offensive tackles there on the board available. Well, not on the Bears board. You know what I mean?
Right.
The reason you trade back is because you get these gaps with your clusters of players, and you're in the same way in which I have this thing in front of me. and I see a big gap, well, that doesn't mean the Bears board's the same. And obviously it's not. So just because Ariante Ursary is sitting here towards the top of mine, he obviously was farther down theirs. And so they felt like they could trade back, take Ozzie, who they wanted, and add a Shamar Turner to it. So the logic is actually, in my opinion, something to be applauded. We might not agree on the value of the players, but I'm not going to come after the Bears for not reaching for a guy that they felt wasn't worth the pick at 41.
I agree. Look, they went best player available seemingly up and down, the entire draft. And that philosophy is the right philosophy. You start drafting for need, you're going to miss out on the best players in the draft a lot of the time when you do that. So I it's just a thing of, are you a draft guru? Is your board right? And when your board is so off from, what a lot of other people's boards are, I haven't gotten to the point where I'm giving the Bears the benefit of the doubt. They see it like this. They've got this nailed. I completely trust their evaluation. We still have a ways to go before I get to that point with this regime.
Yeah. And real quickly, the draft is over now, and we are already starting to get some undrafted free agents come through. And the Bears, they once had a safety named Major Wright. They've gone in a completely different direction. They've now signed a safety named Major Burns. I think that's the opposite of Major Wright. LSU safety Major Burns signing with the Bears, according to Tom Pelissero.
Simpson.
Let's get Fran back on the phone. Break this down. No, I'm just kidding.
It just feels very Simpson-y right now. We got Major Burns. Mr. Burns is here, and I love him. It's a great undrafted free agent signing. Guy was an absolute standout at Madison Prep Academy, where he's coached by Landry Williams and Mike Roach. Whoever those guys are, they were awesome. Love them. He had 14 tackles versus Wisconsin in the ReliaQuest Bull Hoge. Take that.
Never underestimate how quick the Carmapedia can be to the draw. Look at that. The fastest in the West.
Malik Neighbors caught the pass, like the first pass of the game, and then he sit out. He just wanted to set his record, and then he sat out the rest of the bowl game. I didn't like that.
He also had a pick against Missouri. Maybe he stepped in front of Luther Burden. There's a topic for you.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about what everyone wants to talk about, and that is Ruben Hyppolite.
Everyone.
All right. Here's the summary. We talked to Bears assistant director of college scouting, Francis St. Paul, today. The summary that he gave us. This was one of the 30 visits to House Hall. Visit went really well. All the coaches loved him. He's probably a Mike or Will linebacker, but can pretty much play all over and will play special teams early. He was considered a leader at Maryland, and this is your Jack Sanborn replacement, in my opinion. This is it's a faster Jack Sanborn. Mm-hmm. It's somebody who I think Dennis Allen wants more speed at the position, and so now I'm not saying he's going to go in right away and be the third linebacker in the game when they're in base. He's going to have to earn that, but Jack Sanborn was able to do that pretty quickly. This is going to be a special teamer. Guy brings a little bit more speed than Jack Sanborn had. He's also smaller. I haven't watched enough of him to know if he has the same instincts as Jack. I mean, I watched a lot of Jack Sanborn, obviously, because he was at Wisconsin. And the dude was just always around the ball. But I will tell you, from the tape I've looked at in the last few hours, I like it. I mean, he comes downhill really fast. He's got some play. I ran into I don't know why I saw it, but they're playing Iowa his freshman year, and the left tackle gets on him really fast, and he doesn't even stack and shed. He just runs the dude over. He's a freshman, and he's not that big. He's 5'11". So there's a violence to his game. I don't know about the instinct of getting around the ball yet. I'll watch more, but I will say from what I saw early, I could see why the Bears are betting on this pick, even if it seemed a little bit early at 132 overall in the fourth round.
Well, Jake Flanagan, our leader here at CHGO, he was super high on him, and his comp was think Mike Singletary with Urlacher's speed, which that gave me a really good laugh. Jake's one of the most diehard Bears fans you'll
So
ever
he's the
meet.
greatest linebacker ever.
Think Mike Singletary with Urlacher's speed. But to that point, and if I may, Stephen, I'm going to pull up this RAS score here to kind of highlight the speed that you're talking about, Hoge, the 40-yard dash. For those of you that don't know the RAS score, this is just basically a way of the composites grades across the board from your measurables to the way you run your 40, your 20 and 10-yard splits, your shuttle, your 3-cone. And you see a lot of green on that side where you got to find out how much speed a guy's got. And that's certainly what he's got in bunches.
Carm
hates the pick. It's okay.
No. I listen. I watched. I think probably the same highlights you watched. He's knifing through there. He's. I think his instincts on first bit for me were impressive, and I did see him shed some blockers too. A lot of the highlights, he's not blocked at all. But he got off some blocks and made tackles. His highlights pretty solid. We'll see. It's whoever just put in the chat that he's going to be a special teams player. I think as far as a floor, that seems very fair.
Well, I mean, we are talking about a 4th rounder. So,
right.
All right, let's move on to the 5th round pick, 169 overall. This is cornerback Zay Frazier from the University of Texas, San Antonio. We talked to Trey Koziel on this one. This is your classic height, speed, length guy.
Yep.
He had 6 interceptions last year, which was really good. He can turn and track the ball. This is one where they're already talking about the instincts being very good. Fits Dennis Allen's desire for length and speed on the outside. Again, this is a 30 visit guy. They really thought it went well. They liked his energy, his sense of humor. So, yeah, that's what he had to say about Zay Frazier. I think we actually have a clip, too, from Director of Player Personnel Trey Koziel on Zay Frazier.
Yeah, this is a guy that really was a one-year starter at UTSA, but you turn around and, there's not a lot of guys who walk the earth that are almost 6'3" and running the 4.3s. And then, the cool thing with him, too, is he got his hands on a lot of balls this year, 6 interceptions, 8 PBUs. So when you get a guy who fits that press cover mold that can also take the ball away, I think, you're more than willing to take a shot and develop guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, they 8 PBUs on top of the interceptions. That's 14 opportunities to get your hands on the football in I think a 13-game college season. That's a pretty good ratio there.
Am I gonna fall in love with this guy like I did Reddy Stewart last year?
You might. He's also got a Valus Jones comp, Branks. He's 25 years old.
Oh well,
which I'm totally fine with. The whole 25-year-old thing is like, yeah, he's 25. Who cares? Give me 5 good years of Zay Frazier. That's fine. I never got that one.
Yeah. I think people just sort of had fun with it more than anything else. So there you go. That's the 5th round pick. We can keep moving here. 6th rounder, 195 overall, guard center, Luke Newman from Michigan State. And we heard from Breck Ackley. I think we have a cut from him too, because when this pick first came across the board, this was the guy who's playing tackle at Holy Cross. He transfers to Michigan State where he goes to guard. And now it actually sounds like the Bears kind of eye him more as a center. So here's that clip.
The cool thing about him, non-combine obviously, but he goes to the Shrine game. You see him play center there. So that's really when it kind of piqued the interest, the versatility piece. And then after that, really good pro day. So he was one of those guys that kind of, as you went through the process, he slowly checked every box and kind of did everything right. And you get to the end of the process and he's clean. Bring him in on the top 30. Coaches liked him and it kind of married up. The initial quickness, some of these guys, some of the traits are better suited for one or the other. He's a guy that played tackle his whole career. So he goes to Michigan State. You see he can anchor and handle big bodies. They play good competition, obviously. He played some NFL guys there. And then he goes to you're always projecting the center thing, which on our end can be a little bit scary until you've seen him actually do it. But for him, he goes there, you see him snap, get out of his stance, you see him handle the calls they give him, and then you combine that with coming in here and the intelligence. So that's the second piece of it, right? He comes in here, meets with the coaches, and you have no concerns about the football intelligence and the ability to learn. So it's kind of a picture of all of that. But I'd say the initial quickness and the FBI.
And again, that's Breck Ackley, who's the Bears director of college scouting, kind of leads the whole charge of all the college scouting for the entire year. So it sounds like, guys, Luke Newman for Michigan State. This is the guy they drafted to be the backup sort of swing guard center guy on game day if somebody were to go down.
Hey, Braggs, do you feel, all the backups that you wanted to sign, do you want them or do you want this guy?
Say that again.
You wanted every backup to be kept. You wanted
Matt Pryor or Luke Newman. Is that what you're asking me?
Well, and also the rest of them. Who else did we bring back?
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. This is him all in one. That's what they got here, bud.
Well, he's obviously younger than Bill Murray, as Gary was. I was talking to Gary about that. But, as I said, depth. I mean, that's basically what this entire draft has been. They don't get the starting edge. They don't get the starting left tackle. You don't get the starting running back. It's just been depth across the board. And so for a lot of fans, I think they're going to look at this draft as a failure. But I just think that that's where this team is at now, where they can start looking at situation and the way the board falls, not get too desperate, add picks for next year. And it may not, move the needle as much as some other years, but I just think the roster has really started to fill out to a place where they have the ability to do that. That doesn't mean that there's without questions or criticisms to what's happened here this year, but I am encouraged by the fact that we are starting to add depth to this roster, which has been sorely needed for the last few years.
The Bears just signed a linebacker to an undrafted free agent, Power Eccles, who also played at Michigan State. So maybe they're building there's a whole.
How about Efton Chisholm? Where's he at, Hoge?
I mean, I hope he's on a flight to Dallas right now. We need Efton Chisholm. I think the third. Remember, that means there were two other Efton Chisholms before him. And that is the actual family tree I need broken down by Carman by Wednesday. That's his assignment.
Thank you.
Whether or not he's a Bear or not.
All
right.
That's the other thing with Hyppolite. He's the second. It's junior. Why are you giving up? It's this. When you are the second in line, you're junior. You're not the second. You're trying. No, don't leave me and Ken Griffey Jr. behind. You're junior. It's a little thing.
Okay. Right. Did we put Luke Newman's Raz up there or not?
Oh, we can. I didn't know how much you were interested in these things.
Oh, razz me up, Greg.
Yeah. Well, we all know that Poles is a Raz man.
Well, this is a really good composite score, to be honest with you. I mean, the speed's great. The composite agility grade's great. The explosion grade is great. That's something that the Bears talked about today in terms of the quickness off the ball. Really, the only issue is the height, which, he's 6'3.5" playing the interior. He'll be fine. 308 is a little light. So maybe bulk up, put a little bit more lean mass on. And the other issue would be the arm length, which is on the smaller side. But I think that's why the Bears also are kind of projecting him to possibly play some center. So overall, though, I mean, for a 6th-round pick, that's a pretty good RAS score.
Do we have the picture of him in his yard? That's the best part for me. That's your guy, dude. Look at that guy. Tell me he's not going to be dominant in the middle of that offensive line.
For context, this is when he spoke to the media through Zoom, correct?
Yes. And Sean Hammond, God bless him, was like, "Where are you?" I'm in
There's
my
a
backyard.
couple trees behind him. Why is this anything? What?
Dude, it's your draft day. I don't know. Take a shower. I mean, come on. He had people over. This dude looks like he just rolled out of bed. It was totally fine. That's okay. That's cool, Luke. I like it. You didn't want to make a big deal
Offensive linemen don't shower, okay? They just worry about running people over and eat steak. We need nastiness. We need nastiness. Dude, he doesn't need to shower.
Dude, he's meeting the Chicago media. He's got a party. I would tell everybody in the house, shut up. I'm talking to Hoge and Johns and Chris Emma, who can't stop talking about the Cubs. Look, you don't have to go out in the backyard and I don't know. Put a hat on. What is this? But
By the way, Chris Emma wants to come in studio.
great. Bring him in.
I
Let's
told
go.
him I'd ask.
We're
I'd
gonna
ask
talk
Bragg.
baseball, talk Cubs.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Let's last pick from the 7th round. And then we'll get to maybe some of these free agents that are coming in and your super chats before we get out of here. But I believe the only player the Bears drafted who how do I say this? The only player the Bears drafted later than where I had slotted. Does that make sense? Yes.
Yeah.
Kyle Manongai, the running back from Rutgers. I had a late 4th round grade on him, and the Bears got him in the 7th round. So I like the value here. And if you get a chance to watch his highlights, I mean, this pick was made while we were on here. So I don't know if you guys been able to check anything out on the side, but when you get a chance to watch this guy, his nickname is Mighty Mouse. I think one of the coaches called him the Matrix too. Like his feet are always moving, and he's got patience. He's got the ability to change speeds too when he's running, it's not just all one speed. He can kind of change gears as he's going. So I'm actually pretty excited about this for the 7th round. I'm not like predicting he's going to go run for 1,000 yards or anything like that. But for where the Bears got him, I like this pick. I like it. It's an extra element to the offense that Ben Johnson can have fun with.
I like it too. And I literally just clicking in my head, just thinking about how physical he ran when I was watching him. I'm looking forward to going back and checking out the highlights. But as far as value, where they got him, fit, I think there's a lot to like here.
Well, and if we're going to keep the RAS score theme going here, we'll pull up his, and it doesn't have as much green as we've been seeing here. Hoge, if you want to go. Yeah, a lot of red and yellow here, not as much green.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so for those listening to the podcast, we just did Luke Newman's, and he was 9 point something. Really good in the green. Kyle Manongai's down at 4.03. It's like basically a scale out of 10, just to give you an idea of that. Height, he's obviously 5'8", so he's on the shorter end there. 40-yard dash wasn't extremely fast, 4.6. It's a little bit surprising. Explosion grade just okay, and then he didn't even qualify for the agility grade.
Yeah, he did so bad that he just didn't do the 3-cone. Kidding, of course.
Okay,
it just didn't have a number listed.
Bad 3-cone.
But you know what? I will say this: like, there's some players that you're projecting, right? And so you want to have that higher RAS score and the traits. Some other players, they're just like, you just like their film. You're like, this guy's gonna come in and he's gonna do what he does. We're not trying to project him to be Walter Payton here. We're gonna have a role for him and run with it. So, yeah. So there's your 4 picks from today. Before we get out of here, let's run through these super chats if we can. Again, we'll be back Monday. We'll talk about all the undrafted free agents. We'll have guests on to talk about all these picks. We got a lot more coverage coming next week. It really never stops. Michael Renouf, 199. One of the worst drafts I can remember. Pathetic.
Hang in there, Renouf. It's gonna be all right.
Shut up, Michael.
T-Just 499. Today was definitely the day they got a bunch of athletic freaks at their respective positions, all development guys.
Let's go, coaching staff.
That's what I'm talking about, T-Just.
There you go. Total Malarkey, $20. Yes. Use your anger. Man, the Bears fans here at the draft aren't even happy. I'm staying hydrated, though. I'm staying hydrated through the salty tears. I'm not going to read those 3 words.
No, you're not going to read it. Because shout out to Lance Briggs. My friends came out for the draft party yesterday, and one of them is an idiot and also a Packer fan. And he at least was bold enough to wear his Packers hoodie. And some of my friends wanted a picture with Lance Briggs, and he was kind enough to oblige. And as Adam, the Packer fan, went to try to take a picture with Lance absolutely refused. And he was not joking. Like, no, I'm not taking awesome. A picture with you. It was a great moment. It was awesome.
Yeah, he doesn't want that going viral. I don't
know.
Nope.
Nope.
Charlie Linenfelser, 199. Oh, Burden is a beast. From St. Louis.
St.
Shout
Louis
out.
Burden is a beast.
You're the man, Charlie.
Gary Ross, $10. Quarterback.
Gary's contribution this weekend was elite, and thank you. It was awesome to have you out there both nights, brother.
I love that reference. I loved him yelling quarterback. It was the only thing I could understand that he was yelling at us the whole night. It was great, but I knew when he was yelling quarterback. He says, thanks for hosting an amazing 2-day draft party. It was great seeing everyone and all the diehards who came out both days. Keep up the great work. CHGO Bears, bear down. Right back at you, Gary. Definitely a fun couple days.
Yeah.
Carm, go to wherever you're going, wherever you are in this world. Go say hi to Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going to give one of the greatest people in my life, battled cancer for about 7 years, and she passed away a couple of years ago, and they're doing a dedication for it. And I'm going to put this up on the screen here to the great Jennifer Stephen, who I would not be here without. I am going to go try to catch the back end of this ceremony. It was great to be with you guys. But just shout out to anybody who's looking for somebody to guide you in life. I was fortunate enough to run into her in my early 40s, and I'm going to go cry this one out because I wish she was still with us today. But great being with you guys. Good luck on the finishing up the show strong. I know you will, and love you. See you Monday.
All right, Carl. We'll see you on Monday.
See you guys.
Very nice shout out there. Great. Well said there. A few more supers before we get out of here. Charlie also adds $5. So many options on offense now. Ben is going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about with Luther Burden, I think the biggest thing isn't just what he can do as a player, but as Steven said, as a multiplier. They didn't have a guy that could really stretch the defense, and they need that when you look at Rome Odunze and DJ Moore, and obviously the tight ends as more of the guys that are going to be underneath possession guys. You need somebody that's going to stretch that defense out so they can't bring everybody downhill into the box and squeeze everything. So this is where you're going to get a little bit more space and opportunity. I'm with you there.
Spackham's $4.99. Unless it happened after I left, there was no live Carmonica show. Was this draft that bad, or was Carm too scared of Pizzatola? Well, Carm was scared of Pizzatola, but you missed it, my friend. There was a Carmonica event that happened at the end of the night.
There was, as we were scraping at the bottom of the barrel to figure out how we were going to finish that show. He did bust out the Carmonica.
We really needed the Bears to trade back at the end of the third round there. And it didn't happen, so Carm got his moment. Gary Ross also asked for $5. Right move from left tackle to right tackle in college because he was really bad at it. Please don't move him. Understand that sentiment. Don't necessarily disagree. I just think it's a talking point that is going to continue this offseason. I would also like to give really good players the benefit of the doubt that was 4 years ago when he was moved. It was at least 3. Players get better, they get stronger, they get faster, they get to the NFL, they learn more. So
well, and whoever's playing on the left side gets to block next to Joe Tooney.
It's true.
So that's
like
a benefit
of that left side of the line for sure. Eric J, $5. If their draft board didn't have the players we all knew they needed, then yet again we have a regime with evaluation problems.
Yeah, but we don't know.
There's a couple different ways of looking at that. Chubbs 82, $5 in a draft full of edge rushers. To not get one, I'd say, is a failure. And to draft a quarterback in the 4th round must have meant corner, right?
Corner, yes.
No. They drafted a linebacker in the 4th round to be your 5th, possibly fail.
I think he means corner, but I don't know. It's
know.
Chubbs. It's Chubbs.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out.
Thanks, Chubbs.
That was a terrible super chat, Chubbs. And then he recovers with a $2 cornerback in the 4th round, but I don't think it was 4th.
No, that was 5th.
5th round, Chubbs. Send another.
We got you, Chubbs.
No,
You'll get there
send another super chat, Chubbs. It was in the 5th.
This one better be $10. No. Charlie adds $2. Take a shower, bro. LOL. Love Carm. That was a funny comment. I died there.
Yeah, it was good.
Give the guy a break. He can do whatever he wants on his draft day. Chubbs 82, $5. Why does Carm's facial expressions always look like he's constipated? This has been a talking point over the years that people are saying on the streets.
Yeah, the resting Carm face definitely looks like he's pooping. I mean, that's what it looks
Yeah.
like. So, no, really what it is when we're on when we're at home and we're doing the show remotely, the camera's closer to our face as it is as opposed to the studio. So he can't help himself. He's like looking at himself. Like so it messes with his head the whole time. So if you're wondering why he makes those weird faces, it's because he's watching himself and trying to change the way he's looking at the camera.
Sure, I'll go with that. That makes sense. Yeah, Dr. Bunny, Kelly Witten, $5. I'm not unhappy with our draft. Where's Huzzy? That's true. He went undrafted, didn't he? Although I kind of missed the last picks after the Bears.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he had gotten drafted, I think Carm would have alerted us to it, as they are now connected forever. Pizzatola, $10 super chat. Draft party was amazing last night. Special thank you to Braggs for inviting me onto the show. I can confirm I did hug Carm. Now I can wear my "I hugged an idiot today" sticker. Yeah, there it is. He did a great job. He got the the set fired up, so it was a lot of fun to have you on the panel there for a minute. And shout out to you and appreciate your support and the face reveal. If you're wondering what Pizzatola looks like, I put a couple pictures on Twitter from last night. You got to scroll back a little bit from our coverage for today, but you can see the moment that he reveals himself to us, and it was a fun moment.
He kind of looks like Carm.
He does kind of look like Carm. That's true.
That was unexpected. Richard Budnick, $2. Get Seth McLaughlin for center, undrafted free agent.
Wow, didn't go drafted. And I like Seth. I think, when you talk to a couple guys on that offensive line for Ohio State, Josh Simmons and Edwards, they both spoke very highly of Seth McLaughlin. So I would be all for it.
All right, how many more we got here?
How many more we got, Steven? Kyle Ace, $7.99 $8. Just woke up in Australia. Who were
Australian dollars?
Australian dollars. Just woke up in Australia. Who were our day 3 picks, and what identity do you see the Bears having after this draft? Bear down. Well, Kyle, we just did an hour and a half on who they drafted here, day 3. We appreciate the super chat. All you got to do is rewind the show back when it's over, and you'll be able to see the breakdown of all of it.
If you go back just 20 minutes, we did just run through the 4 picks for just today really quickly. So you can do that, Kyle. Appreciate your support. Richard Chad says, okay, guys, Hoge, you are the absolute real deal. Talk me back in the window, off the ledge. I agree with all 3 of you. The best. Absolutely loving your work. 1,000 thanks.
Thanks, Richard.
I appreciate it. I do think that, like, sort of my big takeaway kind of ending this weekend, Braggs, is like the Bears are, with this draft class, they're asking for a lot of faith. It started in the first round with taking Colson Loveland over Tyler Warren.
Yep.
I think they explained it really well. I think the Bears like both of those guys, but obviously they had Loveland first, so they took him. Continued with some of these picks that were not running backs, trading back when there was some offensive tackles that fans liked. They were asking for your faith. There, even myself, going through this is not the best I have felt about a draft class on Saturday. But I can see the upside with almost all these picks. I can see the rationale for all these picks, and until Ben Johnson and this coaching staff proves otherwise, I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you can poke holes in a few different things. Elijah Huzzy to the Texans here, reported by Aaron Wilson on an undrafted deal.
No.
So to the Texans he goes, Mark Carman. But no, I mean, to your point, it's not just, hey, you drafted Colson Loveland over Tyler Warren or different spots where you drafted a player, but you also could have drafted different positions. You could have drafted defensive line in the first and offensive line in the second. They also drafted guys with different kinds of backgrounds, right? With Luther Burden or, a defensive tackle where, you got some injury history there. And so there's a few different layers to that faith that you're speaking of, and us just having to have to trust the process. But yeah, I definitely think we're still in the honeymoon phase, and that means you're going to continue to trust your partner, and that's our Chicago Bears.
Chevy Wellington, who's my favorite person, and he loves me back. $10 super chat here. It says Ozzie played a whole season at left tackle. Loveland runs routes like Edelman. That's a wild statement. Tyler Warren mockers are dumb. Parentheses Hoge. We have an F. Parentheses Cole. Good draft, youngest, most explosive offense in football. That last part of that last sentence was the only intelligent part of this super chat. But we appreciate it. Ozzie played a whole season at left, moved to right because he was more comfortable there. Comparing Loveland to Edelman is wild, but I do like his route running. Warren mockers are dumb. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But Cole is your Y tight end, not your F. And they just drafted Loveland to be the F.
Ooh, you just got dunked on, Chevy. That was like a little windmill right there. That was a windmill dunk on Chevy Wellington.
We love
better hit up
Chevy's my Pizzatola.
Better hit up Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, Chevy, and get yourself a new car, idiot.
Or you could go to Ray Chevy and get the same Chevy.
That's true too. That's true too. You could also go to Ray Chevy, or you go to Ray.
Get some
Chrysler,
new takes
Dodge,
while you're there, Chevy. By the way, Ray Scarpelli, he's got plenty of takes. He's been texting us all weekend with him.
I could blame it on just 3 days. I mean, it's been a long ride, and we've had a lot of viewers, and it's been a lot of fun. But I'm just an idiot. I mean, it really has nothing to do with how tired we are.
No, you're fine. All right. Hey, thanks to everybody. We kind of ran through it all last night, so I'm not going to do it all again. But really, this was a team effort from top to bottom.
Yep.
Cross networks throughout our entire company at ALLCITY. Take support at a lot of different levels. Pulling producers from other shows to come help us. Steven, of course, crushed it the entire way. We had Emma Clark come in from Denver to help us. I mean, there's so many people I can mention that made this weekend amazing. So, but most importantly, the viewers, the listeners, all of you guys that have been following along all weekend, even you, Chevy. We appreciate all the super chats. Please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Take the link from the show. Text it to a friend, a buddy that you know would like the show. Help us continue to grow this thing. We greatly appreciate it. Check out our sponsors too. Go download that Rate app. They were along with us throughout the weekend, which was awesome. And our new partnership with Big Brothers and Big Sisters too. Announcing that was very rewarding. And we're really excited about that 3-year partnership going forward. So 1 million people to thank. I'm not going to go through them all. That's good enough because we're being back Monday, and it's not going to stop. We'll bring Fran back. We'll have guests for all these draft prospects. Hopefully, all will get a little bit of sleep tomorrow and get away from football for a second. But it should be an exciting week of coverage that continues this week. Greg, you got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I think you said it well. And unlike Carm, I'm going to let you close out a show cleanly. So I'm just going to be quiet.
Man, I don't even know what to do here. Okay. Thank you again, everybody. We'll see you Monday at noon. We'll have a loaded show for you. I promise. Be there. Talk to you then.